So with rising fuel costs, EVs are becoming more popular. So we thought we'd have a look at FTN Motion's new version of the Street Dog XR. So we all love the Street Dog 80, but there were some things that we didn't like about it, namely the suspension and the switchgear.
Yeah.
FTN Motion were listening and they've upgraded both of those components.
Yeah.
So suspension, what do we think?
Yeah, huge improvement.
Massive improvement.
Yeah.
Sydney's road surfaces are, let's just say, creative.
Yeah.
And with that old version, man, I was bottoming it out. When you were hitting potholes, it was it was uncomfortable to ride at times. This new version, no dramas at all.
Yeah,
like it feels composed when you're riding. That suspension is good.
Yeah, huge difference.
I was talking to the guys at FTN Motion, and they actually work directly with the shock manufacturers to develop these components specifically for this bike. And I think it shows.
Yeah. And it's hard to calibrate a shock that needs to be versatile for different weight riders when the bike itself is so light. I think that's where a lot of the balancing issues came from the first time round.
Yep.
So we've seen a huge improvement, particularly with the rear suspension as well. Like, it's no longer this kind of bottom heavy mattress effect.
Yeah. They're nitro gas shocks on the back as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, they're really premium components on a bike, which is still pretty affordable. Switchgear. That was a criticism last time. We said that particularly the indicator switch, really finicky.
Yep.
Definitely an improvement. Now, the version we had, it was a pre-production version of this bike. So there was a couple of things that they hadn't quite finished. Nameplate on the side. The switch block is close to being finished.
Yeah, so they still kept it like the same styling with that little the little silver switch, but they've like thickened it up a bit so it's not so tiny that when we were wearing like gloves you'd always hit it straight over.
Yeah.
I did find I still did it once or twice where I just struggled to find the middle position.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I just like being able to push in a indicator when you're finished so that you can it just resets rather than trying to find the middle point again.
I liked that because it is a bit old school.
Yeah.
Like it's tactile and you just like click and I enjoy it. I like
nice
the
click.
We enjoy an indicator switch. It's weird.
All right. Let's move on.
Anyway, FTN Motion guys, good job on the switch.
Yeah.
I really liked the new handlebars. Those big wide bars on it, like nearly like beach bars. Really good control. Again, just a lot more comfortable to ride.
You know, one of the main things we loved about the Street Dog 80 was the fact we could go under the mirrors of basically every car when you're filtering through. But I found I could still do that. I didn't find that it was high enough that, you know, it was now in line with mirrors. It's the easiest bike, I think, in the world to filter on.
Yeah, I agree. And like, because the fork rake is really not that aggressive and the steering is obviously super light because you're sitting quite far back. You're in this kind of urban position.
Yeah.
You can just flick the handlebars through mirrors on the off chance that you need to filter past. But yeah, like in a world of Ford Ranger and Toyota Hilux, there's no way it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, so I can't state strongly enough how good those bars are. They're absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Did you take it off-road, Lucas?
Yes.
So did I. How was it?
I didn't.
It was really fun.
Oh my God, I was going to say it was awful.
Oh, it was like the premium subscription to riding a mountain bike. And it was really fun in the way that it's just not for that. But like, it did it. And it has the Kenmar tires.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the brand is.
I swear I've seen them on like a YZ 110 or something. But anyway, you just wrap on a dirt track or on some grass and over some rocks and stuff, and the suspension's like bang, 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 and you're like, yep, cool, this is fine because the tires give me this free pass that it's meant for this.
So I took it down a fire trail around the back of my place, and it's quite rocky.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy it at all. So even though it's called a scrambler, it's probably like the Ducati scrambler in that case. Not meant for off-road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dirt road.
Little dirt. I think dirt gravel road would be okay. Where I took it was definitely not where you should be taking this bike.
But in saying that, like the whole thing is it's a commuter bike, so I don't know how many people are commuting
on
that
dirt
need
roads.
to go through gravel.
And you know what? Like it's funny you say that because the scrambler versatility is definitely there. So when you are in the inner city, it's like, oh, there's a laneway. Bang, here I go. Like, because you've got the clearance and you've got the steering lock and you've got the race suspension and like this kind of supple ride, so you can get away with quite a lot.
Yeah.
So is that a modern interpretation of a scrambler? I guess so. Like that's what the Ducati scrambler is.
Yeah. I just, for me, scrambler is old school dirt trails and stuff like that, and scrambling up hills. And
We've got to modernise our version of a scrambler.
The way the power builds though is interesting. It's not the instant torque
that a lot of
electrics have, but it does build real quick.
Yeah.
So you feel like you wrap on and you go, whoa, I'm not going anywhere. And then like a second or two later, you're at speed.
Yeah.
And then about 3 seconds after that, you're over the speed limit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting the way the power does build. And I think it's common with EVs I've ridden with these electric hub motors. I think it's a common thing that the way they build power is different to the Zero, which was a belt drive.
Yeah, it just means it's such a smooth delivery of power though, like every time.
Yeah.
How about those new mirrors?
The mirrors are great.
Yeah.
Easily adjustable, but the fact that the whole front of it is a mirror, and they look the goods,
and like functional, like worked really well as like looking great, which is not always coexistent.
Anyone who's ever ridden a cafe racer, even a factory cafe racer, will know those little circular mirrors never ever work. And these are some proper, cafe racer mirrors. They're still small, they still look good, but they actually work. You can have them sticking right out the sides for even better vision. And then if you are filtering through traffic, just flick them up. Yeah.
Easy, one hand flick it up.
Yeah.
They're good. And the other thing, that 30 litres of storage. So good to have that much storage on an EV on a motorcycle, because the battery is that section underneath the seat. Yeah,
and I think that's the main thing. Everyone assumes the battery is the coloured part, the front section, which is huge. And then I showed them, I'm like, no, that's all storage. Like I ran into a dude, I went to the local markets and I bought a whole heap of veggies and I was able to just chuck them on the bike. And then, a guy came over to me on a V-Strom. Like, he was just, like, so interested in finding out more about EV motorbikes.
Yep.
Super nice dude. We had such a nice chat. And, he was shocked that the battery was just this small little thing that you could just take out.
The fact that it's only 88 kilos.
Yes.
Like, really light, really easy to move around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ridiculously so.
You can literally pick it up and move it if you need to. Yeah, that's really good. The display looks amazing. And the keyless fob to turn it on.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, like it. And I like the stand icon, which is like a dog sitting down.
Yeah.
And it's also got like a fuel indicator, which is your battery, which I also quite enjoy.
Which is kind of cool. But a very modern looking little screen.
Yeah, very modern.
No, they've done a really good job with that. It does look like a custom bike.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, everything about it screams custom built.
Yeah, which lends itself into the soulfulness.
Yes.
Because, if you're a big manufacturer, you can't do this. It'll never feel like this.
Okay, so the things we didn't like. I don't have a lot. For me, the side stand was hard to get to.
Oh, yeah, I struggled to get that side stand every time.
I think you would get used to where it is if you rode it all the time, but it feels like it's a lot further back than it should be.
Yeah.
And then you put your foot back where you think it is and you go, no, it's actually forward. Yeah. So I was getting so confused and I had to stop and look and ended up just getting off the bike and doing it that way. It's just easier.
That's the thing about it being so light, you can just get off and put it. But I think all it needed was just a little bit, the little...
Yeah, the little metal pole.
Tab. Tab.
Okay, so what else didn't you guys like about it?
I have a few little things, like very minor things, and don't get me wrong, I had a really good time on this bike. But I think one of the things, and we were talking about it earlier, is the storage is so good, but it's so narrow that you're very limited to what shape objects you can put in here. But it would just be really cool if we could like have wider storage at the top, like a normal motorcycle tank would be, where you can still keep the narrowness at the bottom, but then have it come up and wider so you could fit a helmet, and you can also just like grip a little bit better with your knees when you're on the bike. Like, I think that would just be really cool.
So, like, do you remember the Suzuki Across?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So you literally put your helmet in the top of it.
Yeah.
Sports bike, that top bit was just a helmet storage.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great idea.
It was great until the fuel tanks rusted out, which they're notorious for.
Yeah, okay.
Well, this one won't do that.
No fuel tank on this one.
Yeah.
So, and what about you?
If they changed snail mode to a mode switch where you could maybe press it and it's like eco mode that boosts up your regen, you're always coming to a stop. And you'd never use I don't think you'd ever use the brakes because it's so light. It could probably regen itself to a complete stop if you're, unless you're in an emergency. The brakes are really good anyway. Or even an overboost feature, which I've seen in electric cars, where it's like you put it in overboost and it can give you a big shunt of torque for 10 seconds and then it goes into a cooldown to protect the electric motor. That would kind of give it extra versatility. I'm not saying have it on all the time and blast it off all the time, but on the one instance you might want to overtake, or when we were merging out of Tom Ugley's Bridge, the one time where you're like, okay, 10-second overboost. I just need it while the engine's cool. Blast, there we go. And now it's on cooldown for however long. Every once in a while, a quick blast of instantaneous power actually does get you out of a sticky situation. You guys have probably seen this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. When you think about it, this is the second version they've ever done of this bike. And the guys, they've never made other bikes before.
Yeah.
They've done such a good job building on the Street Dog 80. They're in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I can see, they might have an overboost feature.
Yeah.
They might have some regen braking coming up into another version. But I think it's like baby steps. Let's just get the fundamentals right and then work on those features. Whereas you look at other bikes, like say, look, the Zero, it's got features like that, but because of the price, no one wanted to. They didn't sell.
Yeah.
So I think,
agreed.
So I agree that it'd be great to have those features, but I think at this price point, it's fine. As batteries get better and motors get better and technology gets better, and the guys at FTN keep developing their bike, it's going to continue to improve.
I wouldn't have pillion pegs on it at all. I don't know why they're on there.
Oh yeah, actually, how was it? How was it pillining? Yeah.
I pillioned for a total of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally moving the bike from upstairs downstairs.
Yeah.
Not great. And it's more positioning than anything. The suspension. Technically, we did test it because we'll go over a speed bump.
Suspension was fine.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. But I will say, positioning wise, the seat looks long, but when you have two of you sitting there, there's not a lot. But it's the foot positioning and leg positioning that's wild. It doesn't look so aggressive, but your foot is basically in line with the back wheel.
Yeah.
Where your foot.
Yeah. So you're in a race tuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sitting upright.
Plus the range reduction would be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's to do with the weight and the shape, but I just found when I was on a bridge where it was really windy, I was really being blown around on that bike.
Oh yeah.
It's the weight. It's because the bike's so light.
It's so light, but also because it's got a solid.
Sail. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
On range though, I reckon the range, they're claiming 60 to 80 Ks of range out of a single charge. And that's pretty accurate because I commuted into work, which was about 40 Ks. I think I was down to just under half battery by the time I got in here.
So speaking about the battery, I will say it's probably easier than a lot of other bikes that we've had where you have removable batteries. Being that it is a bit higher, so you're not kind of hunched over to try and pull a very huge, heavy battery out. I was able to lift it, which says a lot because I'm very weak. But I will say my only gripe with taking the battery out was lifting up the seat. The hinge doesn't let you open it to a full 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And I just wish it did because the fact that it only opens about here means that it's just a little awkward to kind of tuck it and get that out. I don't know. I mean, it's a minor thing and it's you can still get it out. But when I was trying to do it at night and I couldn't really see and I had a lot of gear on and it was very awkward.
Yeah.
So.
But if you've got power in your garage, you don't need to take the battery out. You can just charge it there.
Hey Danny, hey man.
Pricing. FTN Motion have launched pricing, so available now, $9,990 right away for the XR.
Yeah, so good.
I think it's pretty good value.
Yeah.
The other players in the market, the Fonz electric scooter is about 10 grand as well, maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
Yep. Well, Zeros are no longer available in Australia. Are they available again now?
I think they're coming back, but they're in a completely other bracket.
They are, and they're right up there. Yeah. What I will say about the Street Dog is the components, the whole bike looks like a quality piece of kit. Under 10 grand, it's pretty good pricing. That's with a single battery. You can get a second battery, and they're doing some special pricing on that. Add a second battery for $1,500.
Wow.
Which is $1,000 off the standard price. I actually don't know why you would. I mean, maybe you want to have a battery at work and a battery at home, but this is a commuter. 80 Ks of range is absolutely plenty for this style of bike. And people are going to go, oh, if I want an electric, I want 200 Ks of range. You're talking about a different bike.
Yeah.
This is literally to run in and out of town. And I think when you think of it in those terms, good value, good bike.
Yeah.
Probably the best, the best commuter I've ever ridden.
Yeah.
It's the most joy you're going to have commuting, yeah. You can't stop smiling while doing something that would otherwise be mundane.
Yeah.
It's that bicycle charm that no motorbike's going to come close to because no motorbike's 88 kilos.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And that's the thing. I commute. It's max 60 for me. Around the city, it is perfect. And I love the fact that, it's a New Zealand brand. Like they're local and they take on feedback and they make changes actively. And I think that's just such a great sign of a great company as well.
Agreed.
Just add a foot brake for me. That'd be great. I'd really like.
Oh yeah, you'd like a foot brake. Yeah, I must admit.
Oh, yeah.
Our foot brake would be good, but I kind of get it that it's that scooter sort of bicycle vibe. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Maybe the option.
Yeah.
But can we just say we're not sponsored by FTN? So
No.
like we're not getting anything out of this.
We're not sponsored by anyone.
We just like it. Yeah.
Sponsor us.
We just like it. That's it. There's no hidden agenda here.
Yeah, they're good. Honestly, they're good guys. The conversations I had with them, great. Seem like a really great company. Take on feedback, and I think they're producing really quality products.
Yeah.
So, if you like this video, check out our playlist here of other Commuter motorcycles.